Hey everyone, this is Dean with DCA Crypto. Today I want to cover some things in the crypto market for you guys. Got some bullish things that I'm going to cover and some warnings out there for some things that could be coming up. I'd appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. Please hit that like button to get the YouTube algorithm flowing. All right, let's jump into it. All right, so Bitcoin, it's up hitting 30,000 recently. For Moontober, we are in the green for October, so that's been a good sign so far. Was down a little bit, but everything's starting to come back up. Solana's really up almost 32%. We got Cardano up 7%. Polygon's up 18%. Chainlink's up 35%. Bitcoin Cash up another 13% this month. And just a lot of bullish action. 24% for Aptos. Quant's up 10%, Aave's up 23%, almost 24%. Bitcoin SV up 50%. I'm not real familiar with that one, but just a lot of bullish activity in the market this week. So, wanted to cover some things on here. As I showed before, for October, it's typically a green month for crypto. The overall average is 22%. Now, we might not. For Bitcoin, we may not get that high. We might not get a 22% pump for October, but that's just the overall average. But it has been a green month so far, and there's, we got, about a week to go, so it looks like we might be green for the month closing, hopefully, depending on what happens this week. But November, it's kind of, it can be a green month or a red month, just kind of depends, really. But we've had, 4 out of 5 red months so far in a row for November, so maybe we'll get a red month again, or maybe we'll get a green month. We'll just have to kind of see how it plays out. But December and January typically have been red months, so I'm going to show you some things towards the end of this video, what could be pointing towards another crash coming up here. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I just want everyone to kind of look out to what's going out in the macro environment to see what could be impacting this, so you're ready for it in case it happens. If we go to the rainbow chart here, as I said, we got the halving coming up, and I think it's saying here around March, so I'll have to see if it's March or April, but this is showing March on here, but I thought the date was April. I'll have to check again, because it's been a while since I checked what the date's estimated to be for the halving of Bitcoin, but we could, like I said, we could come up into this green zone and then before the halving, and then come back down after, before we take off into the bull run. That's kind of what I'm thinking could happen based on, last time here, got all the way up in the yellow before we came down, and then we had the COVID crash, and then we took off into the bull market. Back here, back here in like 2016, we had this spike up before the halving and then came back down before we took off. So kind of have to see how this plays out. The Bitcoin ETFs are really going to be a big factor in this. So if they get approved, I think we may just take off this time with the Bitcoin halving, and may or may not get a crash afterwards, but we'll have to see. The fear and greed index is still in pretty neutral zone right now, not too greedy. So that's, that's kind of what you want to use as an indicator, more so in the bull run per se. When it gets into this extreme greed, like in the 90s and that, you really want to start really seriously taking out profits in the bull run with the fear and greed index. And then I got the Wall Street cheat sheet here. A lot of people could be thinking, that we're in like the disbelief phase right here, where we come up and then maybe come down a little bit before we take off into this bull run. So we could be in this disbelief phase right now, or we could be in the hope and recovery is possible phase. It's kind of hard to tell, but my thoughts are we're coming up into this disbelief phase where we come back down and then take off into the bull run. But I'm not an expert by any means. It's just kind of what I think is going to happen, and based off from the halving cycles, that's typically what's happened in the past. Now, this is what I want you to take a look at here. This Alessio Rastani. This guy has been a pretty good analysis of the charts over the years. He's a very intelligent guy. He's got very good technical analysis of the markets. He really knows what he's talking about. He looks at all the all the different aspects of the market and the whole macro environment, and gives really good predictions based off from that on what the market could do. I'm going to put the link to the description, the link to this video in the description of the video for you guys to watch this. I think this is important for anyone who's in crypto to kind of take a look at the macro factor of the S&P index and how this could affect crypto, because in the past, crypto's really been affected by the S&P 500, especially Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin gets affected, it could bring everything else down with it. Now, he's been very bullish this whole year on the S&P 500, but with the recent trend that's happened, it's broke this trend line, and he's saying this is a critical mark in the S&P 500 that broke it, and then it came back down and confirmed the drop in the market. So he's very concerned that we are entering a bear market, and he said that, you know, basically in this video, it's confirmation that we're starting a bear market cycle for the S&P 500, which could overall affect crypto in that. So just kind of keep that in mind. Take a look at this video. I'm just going to play a quick, like 30 seconds of it here for you.
I hope you're well. This is going to be a very difficult video for me to make, because essentially the market has done something extremely shocking this past few days, especially on Friday. And essentially the market has put me in a very embarrassing situation, because I now have to admit that essentially I was wrong. I'll explain to you in a few minutes why I was wrong. And essentially what the stock market did yesterday on Friday is so shocking, is that it's now given us a very dangerous signal, a very important but also potentially bad sign for the stock markets. By the way, I'll explain to you in this video what I think this means for Bitcoin as well. So I'll cover Bitcoin briefly later in the video. But I'm going to dig into the chart of the stock market here on the weekly chart and the daily chart and explain to you what.
So go check out this video. Just kind of, you know, you want to get all different opinions on the market so you can kind of see, you know, what could be happening behind the scenes. Everybody's bullish right now with this October being a very green month for crypto. But when stuff like this happens, it can really affect the overall markets in general, and especially like with the war in Israel and stuff that's going on. You want to look at the macro environment and not get too bullish, just because certain things can happen and it can take you by surprise and you're not ready for it. So, and scare you out of your coins or whatever. So keep that in mind. That's pretty much what I want to cover in this video, guys. Just keep in mind that we could be seeing some further downside in the market before Bitcoin halving, before we get into a bull run. Anything can happen. We could get some type of black swan event with the wars that are going on right now, so keep that in mind, or anything could happen. But it's just, in my opinion, more time to accumulate more crypto for when we do get the bull run, because eventually we are going to have one, especially once we get this Bitcoin ETFs approved, and if Ethereum gets one as well. So keep that in mind. You know, if we get these Bitcoin ETFs approved, and that, things could really turn bullish for crypto in a hurry. So just wanted to give you that outlook for it. So we could see some further downside and some crashes coming before the halving. So keep that in mind. That's typically what has happened in the past with crypto. We get an upward climb and then it dips off. So, but I would think that, you know, if we get the Bitcoin ETFs approved, that you're going to see some bullish action from Bitcoin, and probably at that point, once those are approved, I don't think you're going to see it smash through that 30,000 mark and start taking off. So just depends on what really happens in the markets. That's pretty much what I wanted to cover with this video. I appreciate all of you watching. We'll see you on the next one.